What's up, YouTube fam? It's been a while since we've been on, but we're out here with the EF sedan. Gonna kind of go over some things that we need to do to take care of this thing. As you can see, this is gonna be one of our concerns, is the mounts are actually moved all the way over to this side, so I'm gonna have to definitely put some better mounts on here. The brake fluid, I noticed whenever before, look how nasty that shit is. Before my brakes were like not doing good at all, and I think that's what it is. I've gotten some water in there, and I think it's because whenever I pressure washed the bay to spray the engine bay when we done it, got some water in there. That's the only thing I can think of, and plus it's probably old as hell, ain't never been changed. I've got some wiring I've got to address. I found out that one of my wires come loose on one of my injectors right here, so I need to fix that. Going to get that soldered back up. But I think before I do that, I think I'm going to just go back through my wiring and just check everything out, double check, triple check, see if I can get to the bottom of this idea with this car. It's been sitting for a little while. I'm not driving it anymore. And the reason being is because I got tired of the issues that it was having. It just wasn't running the way I wanted it to. I've still got the CRX SI ECU on it and running it at OBD0, but I feel like that's not the problem. I could be wrong. I have been before. I've changed the throttle body gasket to a Z6 throttle body, because that's what I'm using actually, is a D series throttle body. So I changed the gasket to a D series throttle body gasket, and I actually got it to run a lot better, but it won't idle. And it'll even rev up real good now as well, but it won't idle correct. So that could be an issue with this bottom. It's called an idler, high-speed idler or something like that. It's got like a plunger thing in it, and I remember taking it apart and looking at it. It didn't look dirty, but it might need some adjustment. That could be an issue. A couple other things I'm sure that I need to address. I know, like I said, the mounts are shifting on me. You can see right there where it's shifted over. So I got to make some adjustments on all that stuff before I decide what I'm gonna do with it. I'm not really sure yet. I kind of want to keep it sleeper mode and maybe just run these GSRs, these old school DA GSRs, because I've got some tires that my friend hooked me up with, my buddy Matt. Thank you, Matt. And get those put on here, and maybe, do those, and then just keep the way it looks, and then maybe do like a 100 shot, because I've got a buddy that sells nitrous and stuff, and I could probably get a kit for a good price, if I hunt one down, and just do like maybe a 100 shot. I want to definitely do a wet shot, so that way it'll keep it, safe. This B20 is really healthy. It doesn't smoke at all. So it runs good. It's just got something going on with the way the injection is, or something wrong with it as far as the idling. It acts like it has a miss at the idle, but you can rev it up just fine. If you take it down the road, it has power, through the full, as much as you'll give it gas, it'll pull. But as soon as you go to try to cruise with it, it wants to kind of jerk around and act up and sputter and act up and stuff. And I've changed idle air control valves. I've triple checked the mechanical timing. I've checked the electrical timing. I've went through and changed injectors. It's got Integra injectors in it. It doesn't have a resistor box, which I wired it without a resistor box for a reason, so that way I didn't have to use the resistor box. So I'm actually using OBD2, I believe OBD2A injectors out of an Integra in it, which is fine. It's a good flow. I had Y8s in it before, which should have been fine, but I changed them just for the benefit of the doubt. I've changed the intake manifold gasket just to make sure that I didn't have like a vacuum leak of some sort. I've even changed distributors. I've changed the I've changed the cool in the distributors. You know, I've changed plugs, plug wires, no difference. I changed, make sure my gap's right. I have not checked compression. I have not checked valve lash. You know, that could be something that could be fighting me too. There's a lot of issues that I could do, but honestly, I've been focusing a lot of my time on my green sedan, which I will show you. I posted previous videos about it, and it has came a long way. It is now the daily driver, and I've got the wheels on it. I don't know if I had the wheels on it before. Of course, y'all know the demonic kit that it has on it as well. I've got all the interior back in it. That's probably a little dirty in there right now, but everything's back in there as far as like the dash, and all the seats and stuff are back together in it. I even got a 5-speed cluster in there as well that you can see. I've still got to get me a shift boot and a couple other things, but everything's in there. I put these guards on here. Motor's been running really well. I got an exhaust put on it. I mean, it's been coming along really well. Let me pop the hood for y'all. Well, if I can find the hood latch. That's what sucks about this. I need to make me a little better of a line. I think eventually, if I can find one in LKQ, I'm just going to get me another latch and everything to go back in it. I've had to go through the bottom here to actually unlatch it, but this is where we are. I got everything in. I even got the air conditioner back on it, and it works, believe it or not. Just some thrown together parts that I've actually had. Some compressors. That's an old compressor there that I painted up and just kind of threw it in here. Everything's been running good. I had to get my brother to get me another fan because my fan was bad. And yeah, I mean, everything's been going really smooth. It runs really good. I just drove it the other day to Calhoun, where I live. It's probably, from where I live, it's probably about an hour drive, and it did good. I mean, now the engine does smoke. It needs rings. It came out of the sedan before. Y'all probably remember this single cam from the sedan. It does smoke a little bit, but you know, it runs great as long as I keep oil in it. You know, it does what it needs to do, and that's what I want it to do. And I even got the power steering on this car too. I meant to show y'all that. And yeah, been doing good. Power steering, I mean, everything's on here. I even cleaned out the trunk. It's not perfect. It's got like a big ass speaker box in it right now, but I got the trunk cleaned out, which you can't see it, but you know, cleaned up all the carpets and stuff and got the floor back in it. And like I said, I got this big old speaker box in the way. I got my system and stuff in here, but if you're not on our Wrench Mob site on Facebook, check us out. Cool bunch of car guys. We like everything, not just Hondas. We like V8s too, especially me. I'm actually thinking about getting a V8 truck eventually. Maybe doing some V8 stuff. I've been wanting to for a long time. It just depends on when the time is and how things are gonna go with this other sedan I got. But we also got the exhaust on there, and it's an eBay cheap. I got it on trade, but it really sounds good. And I got my son bringing me my keys. Thank you, Mr. Chandler. I'll let you guys kind of hear it run. This thing has came a super long way. If any of y'all have kept up with the channel, y'all definitely seen what this car looked like before and how it was. It was really bad. Hold on. Now that's the fan in the dash there that you're hearing. The fan up under the bottom, it's got to be replaced. I've got a new one. But yeah, I mean, air conditioner works good. It's not going to work like cold right away, but It definitely does good. And got some stuff on here, but it's definitely good. Runs really well, like I said. Don't sound bad. It's actually kind of quiet. It's got the stock resonator and everything on it, so you know you can actually hear the you know, it's actually quiet. It's not raspy, honestly, which is surprising for an eBay exhaust. It's all around a lot. I mean, it's a good daily, man. I can't complain. This is where a lot of my times went. I still got to fix my radio and stuff up here. I think I'm gonna get me another one to put in here, because this is kind of haggard for right now. But I'm gonna get that straightened out. I still got to do some tape, some metal tape around this to keep the air out and the exhaust fumes and stuff. Which it was way worse whenever I had the old exhaust, because it was literally, the pipe was right here. You know, I didn't have nothing but the header, so the exhaust fumes was literally coming up through the car, and it was terrible. This window right here has got to be fixed. It doesn't roll down, or it rolls down, but the wire in it is like tore up. I don't know what they done to it, but it's definitely got to be fixed and addressed, so that way that rolls down properly. Other than that, everything else pretty much works in the car. I'm still running the automatic ECU for right now. That was just something to get the car going. It wasn't a plan. I have a EX ECU that I'm eventually wanting to run. I just haven't got to that yet. I've got to do some intake manifold work and kind of some other things before I get onto that idea, and it's really not something that's really concerning me at the moment. It will idle a lot better probably, and probably perform a little better. It's not something that's fast at all. It was just for one purpose, you know, to get me back and forth, and it's done a great job, and I'm just really happy with the way everything's come together on it. I couldn't be more happier. I mean, it's been a journey for sure. I don't have a lot of money in it, even still, but I think a recap on everything we did. We brought it up here, and of course we washed it, pressure washed the engine bay what we could, and cleaned it up real good. Pulled the old engine out and transmission out, cut everything up for the 5-speed. You know, in the floor we got that cut up, you know, because the cable, where the cable goes down for the automatic transmission, actually will hit the shift linkage, so we cut that out. I hung the seats up out here and sprayed them off, and got them, you know, real cleaned up and stuff. And I bought some new headlights, and then I got this lip for a good deal from my buddy Matt, and then he hooked me up with the rain guards, and then I got a super sweet deal on the Damani rear for the taillights in the trunk. And we put the engine in, got it running, and it was running good. Then I had some auto air control valve problems, where I was throwing an auto air control valve problem, which I eventually ended up figuring out that it was because I was running a automatic ECU, and it was looking for a 3-wire auto air control valve, and I tried to trick it into a 2-one, and that wasn't working out. So I found out that you have to go with whatever ECU that you're running, pretty much. If you're running a 3-wire ECU, you got to run a 3-wire auto air control valve. If you're running a 2-wire, you got to run a 2-wire. Now you can trick the 2 or 3-wire to a 2-wire if you're running a 2-wire ECU, from what I understand, but we'll get to that road when we get there. But we got the engine in, got it running, drove it around, did a lot of you know, just trial and error with the car, you know, just fixing things here and there. And I'm still kind of having a little bit of a brake issue. Whenever I come up the hill, it'll practically like lose its brakes right as I get up the hill right there and come into the driveway. It'll start trying to go to the floor, and even sometimes when I'm going like out or coming out, backing out, it wants to do that. I think I still have a lot of air. I've bled it a bunch, so I think I'm just gonna have to switch to calipers on this, because I had to replace this one because it didn't have one, and so I had to put shocks on it off of another car that Matt had some shocks off of. So we put those on there, and it rides awesome. I mean, it's got a eBay coilovers, I think, on the front, and then it's got some kind of springs on the rear. So I mean, but it rides so great, and it actually doesn't sit bad. I mean, I could probably go down with the front just a little, but I think I'm pretty happy with where it sits. I'm not scraping on stuff. I'm not pulling my bumper off every time I back out of the driveway. So I mean, this was meant to be a daily. So, and it's done really well so far. Plans on the future, I may put a B series in it later on. This is something I definitely want to keep around. It's a good car. It's came a long way, and I just love taking something that's practically nothing, that people forget about or don't want to buy or whatever, and make it into something, you know. So, and it's been some awesome progress on this car, and I have to say, I know I keep bragging about it, but it's really just awesome how far it's came. And I appreciate the people that's helped me, you know, along the way. Matt, Josh, Paul, maybe some people that I ain't mentioned, you know, haven't mentioned. My brother Nick has helped me out on some parts and stuff. There's just been some people that's kind of helped me out and stuff along the way. And a big shout out to the mob, the people that inspire me to kind of keep doing things, and you know, keep doing my little builds and stuff. But it's been awesome. Just wanted to give you guys an update, and have a good day.